Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Catherine and I make videos about dyeing, sewing, and upcycling. If that sounds like something you're into, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Today I'm going to show you step by step how I made this natural dyed t-shirt with lac. First, let's go over the supplies. I want to show you guys the kind of dye I'm using. It's lac, but it is labeled as wine red extract from Sodhani Biotech, and it's made in India. I will put the information down in the description below if you want to get some. It's really good quality. As always, I'm going to list the supplies down in the description below with links. I am using a 100% cotton t-shirt. I'm using string to tie up my t-shirt. I need a large stock pot that I only use for dyeing, scissors for cutting the string, a hot plate to heat up my dye and my mordant. I'll be using the natural dye, also known as wine red dye. I'm going to be using a dust mask for handling the dyes. I used a micro scale for measuring out the dye and alum. I'm using alum or potassium alum as my mordant. I need a stir stick to stir up everything, plastic containers, gloves, and Synthropol, also known as dyer's detergent for washing. The instructions tell you to weigh your fabric because all of the ratios depend on the weight of your fabric. So this is a child's t-shirt and it weighs 2.5 ounces. So I'm going to tie up my t-shirt before I get started, and I'm just going to do a quick accordion fold, and I'm going to make a square type of pattern. If you're interested in learning more about folding techniques and other types of dyeing, I would encourage you to go to my website to check out my online dyeing classes. I teach live online dyeing classes, and I also have classes that you can take at any time. You can also sign up for my mailing list on my website so that you never miss a new date or a new class. So once I get it all folded, I'm going to tie it up with some string, and I'm going to make sure I get it nice and tight because this is going to be submerged in the dye bath for a long time. If you guys are looking for more inspiration on natural dyeing, I have multiple natural dyeing tutorials on my channel page. I'll link them down in the description below and also at the end of this video. I'm using some kitchen twine type of string, and I'm going to tie both sides up with a couple of passes of the string, just nice and tight, and clip it off and double knot it. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare my mordant. I put about 6 cups of water in my stock pot, and I'm heating it up on my heating plate, hot plate, and I am measuring out about 8.5 grams of alum, and I'm going to mix that into my water next. I'm just using a little piece of paper on top of my scale so that I don't get it dirty. And I got a little bit too much on there, so I'm just going to take a little bit off and put it back into the container. I'm going to put my alum into this plastic container for storage tonight because I think that the plastic bags tend to leak. So now I'm going to add it into the water and stir it up, get it nice and mixed up. And then I'm going to add my t-shirt. This t-shirt is pre-washed before I even folded it, and now I'm going to let it sit in my mordant, and that is going to help the dye to stick to the fabric. It's a very important part. So there it is hanging out in the mordant. I've let it sit for an hour, and it's nice and soaked up in that alum solution. I'm going to turn off my hot plate and let it cool, and then I'm going to pour the alum solution into this jar. I'm going to probably use this Mordant again, so I'm going to just save it and just making sure it's nice and cool before I put it away. So I rinsed out my stock pot and filled it up with a fresh batch of water. It's about 6 cups of water, and I'm measuring out my dye. I am using 7 grams of dye because that's 10% of the total grams that the fabric weighs. So the fabric weighs 2.5 ounces, which is about 70 grams. So I'm going to measure out 7 grams of the dye. And I'm putting it in this little plastic container before I add it to the water. Making kind of a big mess, but sort of goes with the territory. So I'm just trying to clean it up as best I can. All right, so I'm going to add some of the warm water into my smaller container and just get that dye mixed into kind of like a little bit of a thicker paste. I'm mixing it really well with my stir stick. I just want to make sure that it is totally mixed up before I put it into my dye bath. So now it's totally mixed, and I'm just mixing it into the stock pot, and I'm making sure to get all the dye out of that container and into the dye bath. You can see it's a really pretty color. It looks kind of red right now, but the color has a really nice purpley type of color. So next I'm just going to test the pH to make sure it's not really acidic or really basic, and it's pretty neutral. My water here is pretty good, so it's good to go. And I'm taking my t-shirt, which is wet still from the Mordant, and I'm putting it into the warm dye bath. I'm going to let it sit on a low simmer for about an hour or an hour and a half. So it's been about an hour and it's simmering. You can see it's gotten some really nice color. I'm going to turn off the heat and let the dye bath cool down. I'm going to just keep it in there and let it cool down for probably about half an hour or so before I rinse it and take it apart and to see how it turned out. So I'm taking it out now, and I'm being careful because it's pretty hot still. I'm going to let it hang out in this container, and then I'm going to take it over to my sink. Now I am using the pot to kind of reduce water waste. I like to kind of wash my dye pieces in a bucket or a tray or something so that I can turn off the water and swish it around. And now it's time to reveal. You can see that really pretty color. It's so nice. And I got some nice resist. I'm going to agitate it more in this cool water, trying to get as much of the excess dye out. And then I'm going to use hot water and Synthropol to wash it. Synthropol is also known as dyer's detergent, and it helps to keep the dyed parts dyed and the white parts white. So I like to use it for all my dyeing projects. After I wash it by hand, I'll wash it in the machine and dry it on hot. So here it is. It's been washed and dried, and it got some really deep, nice purpley tones. Sometimes natural dye can be a little bit neutral or dull, so this one is really nice and vibrant. Let's see what the back looks like. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever dyed with lac and what process you used. I'm always curious to know what you guys are up to. But I think this one turned out really nice, and I'm very happy with the results. Thanks so much for watching. You can go and follow me on social media at Onyx Art Studios, and you can check out my online dyeing classes at onyxartstudios.com. If you guys like natural dyeing, you can check out these other videos for more inspiration. I have tons of dyeing tutorials on my channel. All right, have fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!